Where are you living in California? Where are you? LA, baby.
So Oh
my God, you're so LA.
I'm actually in Hollywood, which is not as cool as I thought it would. Have you been to Hollywood?
Isn't it a shithole?
It's a shithole.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought this is going to be really cool. I'm right by the Walk of Fame. Actually, I still like it. I like it.
Okay.
But I'm not going to deny
it's not your forever house.
It occasionally smells. Well, I mean, it's hot, desert hot. It smells like hot piss frequently on the streets of Hollywood.
Yeah, but it's your flat and you can do what you want.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm just off the Walk of Fame, and like even the gym and my gym in Hollywood is dodgy as fuck. You know, somebody took a shit in the urinal.
Oh God!
Recently, and it just stayed there all day.
Oh no!
Like nobody wants to go. So it's not the classy place. Like it's not where the Kardashians live.
No, is it a beautiful place, or is it just basically LA, porn stars trying to find their like? I just imagine there's a lot of porn stars, a lot of like fake tits and whatnot.
There's a fair bit of that.
All right, okay.
I mean, you can find it if you want.
Yeah, more than Runcorn, because if you're an aspiring porn star and you've moved to Runcorn, you're fucking stupid.
Yeah, you got everything. You got your Scientology buildings out of nowhere, that's a weird thing to see. Like they dominate certain parts of the landscape. Sometimes you're like, oh my God, a big purple Scientology building by where I live. You're like, oh wow, it's.
You know what they believe, don't you?
I'm not. Do you want to clue me in?
Adam, on top of money?
What do Scientologists believe in, Adam?
They believe that we're all aliens.
Right.
And that some fella called Ron dropped us off.
L. Ron Hubbard.
He's
to populate the Earth. And he got off and he was like, I'll leave them there for a bit. And he's going to come back one day and take us all to essentially the Disneyland of space.
Cool. You can see why you'd want a big purple building.
Summary of what it is that I've ever heard. Disneyland. I've never heard a Scientologist describe it that way, but
that's why Tom Cruise is that into it.
What's Tom Cruise's role in all this?
Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
he's
like a pilot.
He's like their Pope.
Yeah, he's like their Pope. Level.
Yeah.
So they have levels that you gotta work up through, like and you get rankings.
Yeah, he's like an ambassador.
Use
code Cruise10 if you want 10% off your first Scientology.
Well, didn't John Travolta's kid die because he wouldn't take him to get the...
No, that's because he's a psychopath. No, he's a different thing that doesn't let them have medicine.
Oh, Jehovah.
I thought it was Scientology.
No, I think he might have ended up there at some point, but when that happened, it was because he's like a Mormon or something.
The lack of facts we offer.
They're Mormon Scientologists going to space Disneyland. I'm learning more than I thought.
Are you not interested in joining Scientology? Now you live in Hollywood?
Definitely not.
Why?
No, I don't.
I'd join it just to try and blow it all open from the inside.
No one's ever tried that.
Turn up with his axe.
No, I don't want to join any pyramid schemes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's not really interesting.
I'd love to expose Scientology. Imagine being the guy who did that. But imagine you got into it and you're like, actually, they fucking sorted this, and it turns out they're right. I think that's what's happening. Yeah. People are going in trying to expose it, and they're like, oh my God.
I think with your level of expertise, you're the man that can do it.
Are you Mormons or something?
Are you John Travolta's or Tom Cruise's? Which one is this?
What's the
show up at the gates of fucking Scientology, but just with your Mickey Mouse ears on? I'm ready. Count me in, everybody.
That's good.
He'd be running it. He'd be fucking running it.
No.
Fucking hell, never mind Patreon, Scientology. Fucking loaded. How many fucking pubes have you got? Oh my God.
What's the comedy scene like out there? We asked John Hastings this when he came on the couch.
Yeah, it's very different.
Yeah,
I mean, I definitely favor the British comedy scene and comedy style of I like.
So what's your working week look like? I know you do you support Jim on tour a lot?
I do, yeah.
But if you're not doing that, what's the sort of comics working week?
Because I only do his American work. Right. I don't do. When I tour here, I do my own stuff and Australian stuff. That's all in Canada. That's all under my own name. Like Jim's in Australia right now. He's with Amos Gill, does his support spots in Australia for him. So my working week, I mean, it's been different since the pandemic. So, but to be honest, writing the Jim Jeffries show, when we were doing that was 3 years. That was the best. That was in the writer's room 9 to 6 every day, 5 days a week. So that was pretty great.
Proper job.
It was but it was so easy to get into because once you're writing jokes for TV, it's like it turned me into a morning person. Because I definitely wasn't, 15 years living here, I definitely wasn't a fucking morning person. I was get out of bed just in time to get to the Comedy Store. Yeah.
Do you know what I realized recently? I'm a morning person. I just don't like the first hour.
That's what, coffee.
But once I get that first hour out the way, why are you looking at me like I've got 7
They don't believe it.
Because your morning starts at 11 o'clock. So that first hour then goes into the afternoon.
That's not what a morning person is.
This is what I'm saying. I've always thought I'm that guy. Right?
Because you've always been that guy.
Because I've always been that guy.
Yeah.
Right? It turns out I've been living a lie. So what happened was, last week I had a meeting in Manchester. So I got up at I think I had to get up at 6, so I was ready for 7, right? Because that gave me time to sort of amble around, have a coffee, get a shower.
Read the book, learn Spanish.
He's had one morning non-hungover. He's like, I'm a fucking morning person. Next morning, 11:30 a.m. Next morning, midday. Go on.
Yeah.
No, because I was drunk those times and that doesn't count. So the next time, I got up at 6 o'clock. I was ready by 7. I drove to Manchester, had a little coffee, outside Cafe Nero, Manchester. That was wonderful. Got stopped by a listener whose head fell off, which was really funny. And then someone else commented and said they'd seen us there on the thing, which really made me laugh. Then I had a meeting, 9 o'clock. That was cool, very exciting. And then it was 10 a.m. and I'd loads of stuff done. I just felt really good.
Hang on. No.
Wait a minute. So you're saying one time it happened? So you think you could
one
be
morning? One fucking morning.
You think
Lad,
you could
I slept through me alarm. I'm going to have to make it 11:30.
I'm just getting
Get
deja
out.
vu. Getting
Oh, it's
deja
painful.
vu.
And then I wrote a book. I was going to read one. I thought, fuck, I'll write one.
I had me coffee. Somebody was nice to me about a thing.
If you were
it wasn't even 10 a.m.
If you were part of a writing room and you had to be there every morning, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m.
I reckon I'd be flying.
Fuming by week 2.
I wouldn't.
What was it like? I know it's comedians pretending to be full time.
Nonsense.
Or is that real, talk such shit. In the writing room, is it everyone being proper and professional, or is it just comics sitting around fucking about?
It all depends. I mean, we had a mix on our show. We had comedians and we had people who came up through improv. I think stand-up comedians have a different sense of humor, I think, than some of the American improv-y type. I'm still trying to figure them out to this day. So there's 2 different ilks in an American writer's room, but comedians have far less boundaries, I think, weirdly enough, than the improv people.
Yeah.
So, but it's full of good banter, and you come in with, basically, we filmed on Tuesdays, so Wednesdays was just shooting the shit. Thursdays was start getting your first scripts ready. Friday was have them into the head writer, and then the head writer takes those, puts them into an overall script, does a hard edit, kill your babies, as they say, kill some of the babies and put together one script. And then by Friday afternoon, we see that one script, we think about it over the weekend, and then we come in to punch it up on Monday, and then we film it on Tuesday. And it's it's a treat, as a stand-up. I was like, this is the best, getting my jokes on. If once you get them in Jim's mouth, or once you tell that he's inspired to do them, you're like, this is going to be fun to watch.
And you, writing, you've been mates 25 years. Yeah. You learn to, because you've got similar sense of
but he also is a bit of a gift, though, because he's fucking good. He's so fucking good. Even when you have a joke that the idea is there, but you haven't found the wording yet, he'll stumble onto it. He'll see it. So
you sort of tune into writing for Jim, and then know that.
Well, because it was political. The fucked up thing is it was political comedy too, and Jim's not a political, comedian, although he has done some, it
was the gun control routine gave him
just
this
like anything. Like, we're comedians. We just call out bullshit. We call out bullshit when we do, and occasionally that bullshit seems to coincide with politics.
Yeah.
And then some people see that and they go, you must be a political humorist. We're like, no, we're just calling bullshit on certain things.
Which is the job of a comedian, isn't it?
And that's the job of a
comedian. This is weird.
So,
life's weird. That's fucked up. And here's a funny thing from that weird shit.
Yeah.
If it happens to be then part of the zeitgeist or political.
Yeah, no doubt some comics go, that is what I want to do. I always want to study up on what's going on with Boris right now, or
there's
whatever.
There's not many good ones of those.
Well, there is to their community, right? Maybe not to us, because we probably like more kind of social satire and some fucked up stories and mental thoughts about the human condition kind of stuff. But that would be what you would have to do is we had researchers. So they would give us some research on it. We would write the jokes. So a lot of times Jim was learning it for the first time too. So Jim could be there on the writer's room on the Friday looking at that first script going, so what happened?
What was the Jim Jeffries show? I don't know. Maybe some listeners don't know.
It was an American, like, sort of, you know, they look like, it looks like a news anchor sat at a news desk. Yeah. You know those John Oliver... Trevor Noah, those sort of two-camera sort of fake TV screen here with visual prompts for each monologues.
Was it in response to The Daily Show going from Jon Stewart to Trevor Noah? It felt like there was a little bit of a sort of a moving around of there was a little bit of a power shift, wasn't there, on The Daily?
Yeah, I also think it was just the most popular format.
Yeah, popular format, and Jim had just exploded because Bear was so good.
And Jim was like, "This will be." It was a Jim Jeffries twist on this popular format because we knew we could be a little bit edgier, maybe than even The Daily Show, and stretch the rules a little bit, and which I think we did for those.
It was very, very, very good.
Yeah, it was fun.
I got a question for you that I don't know whether we've touched on this before. If another comic came to you, and I'm not talking for a TV show, I think that's a totally different thing, and I think we'd all love to have an opportunity like that, especially for a friend of ours who we enjoy writing for. If a comic asked you to help write their stand-up, would you do it?
Yeah, if they were an absolute giant.
Yeah?
Yeah, I remember with Lee Evans, when he was trying new material for his last tour, I watched the writing process happen, and I thought, these dudes are obviously brilliant at what they do, and they've gone too far down this route of getting it done. Lee Evans could have done with some really good, younger circuit comedians to write for them, because they'd gone so far down that, we write our jokes, and there's loads of them, and then we go and do 6 weekends at the Glees and try them all out, whittle it down, and put it on tour. And the jokes they seemed outdated. They seemed like they were being written in a style that probably worked brilliantly at the start of the 2000s or whatever. And I remember thinking, I've got old material. Do you remember my bit about Jaeger bombs and the Walk of Shame, which was an early bit of my stand-up? And it was when talking about Jaeger bombs and a Walk of Shame wasn't cliched, like it was before the film Walk of Shame. It was a newer thing. I remember thinking, Lee Evans would fucking nail that bit. It would be hilarious. There was a part of me wanting to be like, I would love to give a comedian who I respect, never my favourite comedian, but a legend, like that sort of input. And if there was a 3 or 4 comedian team doing the same thing, I think that last tour of Lee Evans could have been even better. Not that it was shit or anything, but it just lacked a little bit of like a spark. And if it was for someone like that, almost in tribute to what they've achieved and what they've done, then yeah. Any other new comic, I'd be like, mate, I'm writing my own bits.